When it comes to EVE Online, every player wants to know the most effective tactic available. You want to know the meta. The meta controls everything. It determines what will and will not happen. Knowing the meta will alter your views, make you question your reality. It might even make you laugh. And now, you're part of it. You're watching The Meta Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Meta Show. I am Brisk Rubal. I am joined by the Matani. It is March, what day is today? March 20th. It's already March 20th.
Where did that go? Like I for me, like life kind of stopped around December 30th, January 3rd. And then there's this whole M2 thing. And then winter ended and we went from 2.5 feet of snow in Wisconsin to, it is gorgeous out. It's 57 degrees Fahrenheit. We went from just garbage, darkness and misery into beautiful spring, play with your fish, play with your trains, murder people on the internet. It's good. But it does make the whole winter feel like it was like 6 months ago. Like I feel like February was forever ago. I blinked. We're now almost done with March. It's madness. Oh God, I didn't mean it as a basketball joke. I didn't. I am not a sports guy. I am not a sports guy. You know, I'm an internet spaceship nerd, and here we are. And I just walked into the fucking March Madness.
Madness joke without even trying. I
am in Professor Matani mode, as somebody's pointing out here. We have a fun show today. So it's just me and Brisk. We're not doing any guests. We do have a war update coming from Fountain Frank, but I tend to wear glasses and look more serious business professor nerd when we are going to be focusing more on, particularly on facts that will annoy our enemies, because it makes it less wrestling hill and more, oh wow, there's a chart that you can't ignore that says bad things on it that you don't like. So we're going to be going in that direction. I don't know how ranty I'm going to be. Every show I say I'm not going to be very ranty. Usually it's about 5 minutes before I start going into full-blown fire and brimstone mode. So no promises, no plans. We're just going to see what happens. We've got a lot. I mean, first of all, I want to give a shout out. We're going to talk about this later, but my man here, my co-host, Brisk, the man, the myth, the legend, has a challenge with bragging on himself. So I'm going to brag on him for everybody else. We will be talking about this later in the show, but there is now a checkbox to get rid of the fucking red dot. And that is my man right here, Brisk Rubal, slayer, defeater, destroyer, shatterer of the dreaded red dot. So credit where it's due. I'm sure that a lot of the CSM was involved in that as well. But I want to give a special shout out to my lovely co-host here for freeing us from the tyranny of unwanted red dot notifications that didn't really work out very well anyway. Man, why did that take so fucking long for them to do? Rantar, why did it take them so long? Why did they have to have such a huge fucking argument about the stupid red dot that most of the player base hated? Jesus Christ, just add a checkbox to get rid of it. It's not rocket science, but I guess it was. Okay, so I lasted...
you didn't even make it out of the first 5 minutes.
3 minutes. Yeah, I got to be careful about saying I'm not going to rant. But anyway, congratulations, dude. Congratulations to all of us. Free from the tyranny of the fucking red dot.
All right, so because of that, we're going to go into the top story, which is to talk about the red dot. I'm going to run you guys through the history of it, and we'll go through what it took to get this done. It wasn't just me. It took all of you too, but let's talk about that here on our top story. All right, as you can see on the screen right now, the patch notes, version 19.02. This came out Tuesday, March the 16th. It was a surprise to everyone, well, except for those of us who knew it was coming, but it was a surprise to all of you to see, whoa, holy shit, finally. They got rid of the red dot. There's a toggle to the general settings in-game allowing UI inventory badging the red dot to be enabled or disabled. So basically what that is there's a red dot. There you go. Boom, it's gone. You can turn it off. There you go. That's what they did. You can turn it off. Okay?
A year and a fucking half.
A year and a half. The red dot was added in November. I think it was right around right after Election Day, November of 2019. Okay. It was such a pain in the ass. Everybody hated the red dot from the beginning. Now, new players didn't care because they didn't know any better. Some players, it's okay. This isn't that bad. I don't really care. I'm not going to worry about it. But for those of us who have been playing this game for a long time, for veterans, for anybody that hates UI changes, for the people who still bitch at me to this day that they want to go back to the colored icons from 2009, you see a new UI element. One that is really fucking annoying because it's one of those red dots that we are surrounded by everywhere. Every place you go, you can't get away. Look at all the red dots on my fucking phone right here. Look at all these red dots. You can't get away from these dots. They're everywhere. They have, and then boom, you get stuck with them in Eve. And the worst part of the red dot was always not even the fact that it existed, but the fact that it existed and it was fucking broken. And it had been broken forever. And then they said, well, we're going to fix it. And they fixed it and made it worse. You would get phantom red dots in space for doing nothing. You'd get red dots for changing clones. You'd get red dots for pulling ammo out of your guns in space. You get red dots when somebody in the fleet you were in looted. It just didn't work. I made this a hallmark of my campaign, and it was tongue-in-cheek, but it was also real because it was a serious player request that I had seen 1,000 times. I made jokes about it. I asked my dog in my first campaign video, what do you think about the red dot? Is it great for veteran players? And then he just kind of sat there and looked around because he's a dog. But even he knew that the red dot was shit. But what it took was I had one-on-one meetings with devs. We had meetings with the CSM over every week. I would bring it up to the point that by the time we got done, it was a groaning joke. Like the guys were like, we can't end the meeting until Brisk gets a red dot reference in. I would bring it up in chat. I would bring it up all the time. I made jokes about it. I've had you guys put F's in chat or X's in chat if you wanted to see the red dot go. I've done all of that. I've shown that to people, and we were finally able. And I think one of the other things that I also said was, we're in the middle of scarcity. We're in the middle of an era where a lot of people are upset and they're grumbling. You have an easy way to gain a whole ton of goodwill with the community. Just give us the red dot toggle. And thank God CCP listened. It took 1.5 years, yes. And but I don't want to hear from any of you guys. Maybe I'll get up on my soapbox here. I'm on my soapbox now. Listen, when somebody does something that you want them to do, the response is not, well, what took you so fucking long? The response is, thank you. So from me and from my fellow players, all of whom wanted to get rid of this red dot for 1.5 years, thank you, CCP. Thank you for listening. Thank you for doing the right thing and acknowledging the players and giving us what we want. And this is the best of both worlds. For people who like the red dot, if you like your red dot, you can keep your red dot. You can turn it off. If you want to turn it off, you can leave it on. If you want to leave it on, everybody gets an opportunity to get what they want, and the players are happy. This is what should be, going forward, a standard thing that you do whenever you add new UI elements to the game. Give us the ability to opt out, because I'll tell you this, I've been playing this game since I didn't have gray hair. I am set in my ways. I don't want stuff changing that changes the way things look if I can get away with having the old one. We still have the beta map we still have the old map in the game. There are toggles for a lot of stuff that lets people use the old way because they prefer the old way because that's the way they're tried and trusted. So give us, whenever you're making UI changes, give us a toggle. I'm happy we finally got CCP to do this. Thank you. I don't care how long it took. You got it done. And I also want to point out, now that I'm off my soapbox, another thing. This is what I think is a demonstration of the value of the CSM. Because I'll tell you this, it was fighting an uphill battle. The red dot is a game development thing now. Almost every game out there has something like this. They do it because they think that players like it. And you know what? In some loot and scoot type games, like Black Desert or other games that are all designed around looting stuff and seeing how much you're going to bring in and how much you can grab off of every dead corpse you find, this might have value. But it's not something for Eve. It's just not something that we care about, at least most players that I fly with care about. So getting them to do this, getting them to believe and recognize that this was not just one or two people bitching about it on Reddit, that this was a serious issue that everybody cared about, or at least a large portion of the community cared about, it took a long time. But it took the CSM working on this for months at a time. And I don't care, a year and a half for fixing something that is pretty much has been put down in the book of best practices for game development lately is not that bad. So I'm not gonna sit here and give these guys a hard time. They did the right thing. Thank you, CCP. We love you for the red dot. We hate you for everything else, but we love you for the red dot. Just kidding. Sorry. Anyway, I'm off my.
Can I bad cop now?
You can bad cop all you want. Go right ahead.
Why the fuck did it take so long? Right? I mean, Brisk is on the CSM, so, you know, if they do something right, you got to give them a cookie. I'm done with the CSM era, so why the fuck did it take so long? Holy shit! It's not like getting feedback was a trouble. In some areas, they tune into Reddit. In some areas, they tune into the CSM. In some areas, they do whatever. But this was a classic example of something that the player base repeatedly said, what the fuck? Just add a checkbox. How hard is it to add a checkbox to turn it off? And it took a year and a half of political pressure from some of the best members of the CSM to get this change through. And it could have just been done like that. It could have been there from the start. Like, it's a tough situation because when CCP is busy doing dumb things, which happens with all gaming companies, and of course, I understand, well, caveats go here. Gamers are awful. Right? Gamers are awful. And so it's tough to be a developer and like put your heart and soul into something and code things and have a new feature and blah, blah, blah. And everybody screams at you like you fucked up horribly no matter what. But when it is such a, it's obvious, it's easy, the feature didn't really work. It's not like, oh, how did we find out whether people didn't like the red dot? Yeah, it was, anyway, but you know, whatever. In the environment of scarcity, of drifters, of Fozzie of Blackout, of Age of Chaos, in this environment, sure, give them a fucking cookie. Give them a fucking cookie for putting a checkbox to get rid of the red dot, because cool, good, that's nice. You know, maybe they can stop with ramming scarcity downs everybody's throat, but until each other, whatever. It's tough. It's like one of those things where when you want to give them a cookie for doing the good thing, if it took them that long and what have you, it's still just like, holy crap, it's fighting uphill both ways. It's ridiculous. But on the other hand, a volcano exploded in Iceland. So, you know, at least, on the category of at least international air travel, not like we can easily travel internationally, has not been disrupted by this. You know, you take the good with the bad. I'm glad that they finally did something. Maybe what I'm hoping here is that one of the reasons why it could take so long is that there would be a sea change in terms of either the CSM wore them down finally and got them to do it, or they had sort of tantrum style, well, we know what's best and we're gonna force you to take a red dot and like it. And then maybe they eased off that position because kind of like in the era of chaos, there was a lot of, well, we know best and whatever, and oops, we nearly ruined the game and bankrupted ourselves and we didn't get our bonuses as a result, and maybe we should back up off the era of chaos nonsense and maybe listen to the customers. So, you know, it's tough to know whether you want to scream at them or thank them, or what I'm doing, which is thanks for doing it and then screaming at them, just so everybody knows where everybody stands.
You get a cookie, but then we're going to smack you with it. So like, there you go.
You know, I mean, it's tough because, you know, you don't want to feel like, you know, after a certain point, after like 15 plus years of this, you're like, you know, okay, great. They finally did the thing that everybody agreed needed to be done ages ago. That was a problem that they created themselves. Yeah. So what do you do?
Well, and here's the next part. You're going to love this one, because if you thought it took a long time to get the red dot fixed,
oh God,
the best new thing that happened this week, another thing that I'm going to give them credit for, and then Menz is going to yell, why did it take so long? Here's the next thing. So here we go. The right button. We had an announcement on quality of light updates. Here we go. Quality of light update. The most important change we've seen in a long time. As of March 23rd, you will be able to install multiple jump clones in the same station or structure as long as it has a clone bay facility. This is something that many in the community have been asking for. No shit! Yes, it has been! This is absolutely one of the biggest contributors to structure spam in the game. It has been for the longest time. People want to have more than one clone. We have implants coming out of our asses. We have mind links. We have Nirvana sets. We have amulet sets. We've got snakes. We've got crystals. We've got all kinds of different types of implants. One clone per structure. And that's it. Having this is going to cut down on so much of the structure spam that people put up because they want to have multiple clone bays in the same system. It's going to be huge. And then second, for those of you who want to do this stuff, it's also going to fuck a lot of people over when you blow up a station that has a clone bay in it, and you got a ton of people that have like dozens of clones that they didn't get out because they couldn't escape fast enough. That's going to be cool too. So this was, I think, a huge change. I think it's arguably bigger than the red dot, from the simple fact that it has an impact on the game meta, and also from the fact that this has been something that players have been asking for literally from the start, the beginning of Citadels. It was always told, or at least I believe that there is an opinion in the player base that this was something that wasn't possible. Somehow this is something that they have managed to fix and made possible. So thank you, CCP. Again, this is a massive change. I'm very much looking forward to how this is going to change the meta. There were also some changes. They changed wormhole size to make it a little bit easier to roll wormholes. That's going to bring range rolling back in as a thing, which I think is going to make a lot of the wormholers happy. So far, I've not seen any real negative complaints about that, which is good. And then they are creating a new, they're taking an old module, which was the target spectrum breaker, and turning it into a way for battleships to reduce their signature for a short amount of time, which means maybe they're not going to get obliterated by bombs anymore, which means maybe, hey guys, maybe, just maybe, battleships are back on the table. Between the hack nerfs and this change, the target breaker change, I think you're going to start seeing a lot more, potentially if the FCs catch up and start figuring this out, we're going to see a lot more battleship fleets out there. That's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. So 1 week, 2 mind-blowingly awesome changes to the game. Thank you, CCP. I know everybody's going to ask why it took so long, but you know what? The fact that we even got this after all this time, that tells me that at the very least, you guys are listening. You know, you at least have some idea of some of the things that we want. Now, let's just get rid of the scarcity shit and everything will be fine.
I'm gonna good cop this one, surprisingly enough. Compared to the red dot thing, which I see it as just absolutely inexcusable for them to take a year and a half to add a checkbox to let the players have their preferences, as they say, especially because the feature does not work functionally very well. When it comes to adding multiple clones, you know, that's one of those things where even initially jump clones were kind of controversial because we had death clones back in the day, and that's how we would use to get around. If you're old school, you remember having to constantly update your clone after you died. I would say that in many ways it's more excusable that CCP has taken this long to add the sort of quality of life. Let's make things a little bit easier. It's not 2003, it's not 2005 anymore. You know, definitely there's a lot of the sharper edges of EVE Online have been sanded off over the years because games just aren't as masochistic in the year of our Lord 2021 as they used to be back in the day. And so I sort of see the clone thing. I think it's a good decision. I'm glad that they're doing it. I think it fits with the culture of the game currently. But in that case, I actually can see why they would take time to kind of say, okay, we're adapting with the culture, we're changing, we need to do this. I can see excuses for why it would take them a while to get to this feature and choose, do we want to make it easier for people to have all these clones, blah, blah, blah. I do not see an excuse like that for the fucking red dot. So I'll give them a cookie on the clone thing, and I can understand why it took them that long. But yeah, it's good. I'm curious to see what's going to happen on the 23rd. And, you know, we're all kind of waiting to see what the next big thing is. Good that we're going to have some quality of life stuff. And, oh, did we mention these very specific, like, globby nerf yet?
No, that's the other. I was waiting. I was waiting to put that out. So one of the things I have to laugh about, and there's a little bit of, there's a little bit of tinfoil hatting on this, but I think it's probably, you know, it's a little bit justified. We have been bitching. The Imperium at least has been bitching about burst jam interceptors since X-47. We saw in that fight, they were used pretty effectively by the bads against us. They caused a hell of a ton of lag and tie-dye in the system, and it was just annoying as hell. You get a bunch of interceptors, you can't stop them, you throw them on top of a Titan fleet, everybody burst jams, and they sit there for a while, and you can't hit them, can't kill them, you can smart bomb them off, but that just creates even more frickin' AoE lag. So what are you going to do with it? Bitched about it for years. Then suddenly Globby starts doing it on Entosis fights.
When we do it, suddenly.
And then, oh, well, hey, look, now they're making it, now they're going to nerf it all of a sudden. And suddenly, in these latest changes, no longer will interceptors be nullified if they have a burst jammer fit.
All of those horde burst jam, like there have been so many things, and this is a classic example. I want you guys to turn your attention to the angry all caps puppy we have here in chat. Let's pay attention to Matty Ketu, who has the genius Pappy way of saying Imperium bin bitch lol, you are prime users of it, top fucking keck. I assume that you're a real hit with the ladies. And yeah, no, this is a classic thing. We had to do this with sentry drones. There is always this system of when puppies do things against us, it's all well and good. But then when we go, oh, hey, your wrecking ball is stupid, and so we are going to get all of our sentry drones together and we're going to do the same thing you guys do. Oh, hey, sentry drones, the finger of God thing finally got nerfed when we started doing it. This is the classic situation. When puppies do it, it's okay. When we say, hey, that's bullshit, something should be done, the way we get it fixed is we use it against you and you cry like bitches, just like our dear little puppy here, all caps. So that's what we expect. I really think that if anything should be said about this, it's that Globby is a badass. I mean, let's just pause here. Let's just pause here. All these other motherfuckers like did this thing. Burst jammers, he did it at such scale and he did it so effectively, he personally got nerfed by CCP. And I think that is a feather in his cap that he will be proud of for the rest of his life, that he owned these puppies so hard they had to change the game against him when the puppies had been using it on us far less effectively. No risk of a nerf, no nothing. Globby literally killed it. So good on him. He gets a fucking gold star for me, at least.
Now, for the record, that's Mitten's take. I think they just fixed it because, hey, it's time to fix it. It's been busted for too long. But you know what? I like the Globby story better, so we're going to go with that. Anyway, that was the big changes of this week. I think, frankly, after the interceptor thing, to a certain extent, I think everybody likes that. That was a good change. The fact that you have combat ships that can be effective in a fleet that can be both insta-warp and nullified is not cool. And we on the CSM, at least the Imperium CSM members, have been complaining about that for a long time. So seeing them chip away a little bit more at that makes us happy. And then obviously the clone thing is huge. The red dot is huge. The target breaker thing has the potential to be big. And the wormhole thing for the wormhole guys is huge. So that's a lot of pro player fixes within a span of a week, which tells me all of us who are out there bitching about CCP, oh, they're horrible, oh, they don't listen, oh, they're never going to do anything. They can do stuff when you push them and when it's clear that this is something that the community wants. So that's why, for those of you who want to go and say, oh, they don't listen to the CSM, well, they did this time. So yes, I know I have complained, and I know other CSM members have complained that sometimes it doesn't seem like they're listening. Well, at least I have proof now that they are, because it was us making that a point that got that done. And I think, frankly, when it comes down to it, we're going to be in CSM season soon. I think we're going to start seeing folks get out there and start running campaigns and things like that. Thank you to CCP for my re-election campaign ad right there. It's done. I fixed the red dot, mic drop, and I walk off. I don't even have to do a video. It's going to be great. But the point is, I think that for those who think that the CSM has no efficacy, that it doesn't do anything, that they don't listen to it, we have some pretty solid examples this week that that's not true. And as much as it frustrates us sometimes and we get petulant, the reality is they are trying to work with us and give us certain things. Now, if they'll only listen on the stuff that also matters, like scarcity and fixing the economy and all this other kind of stuff, we'll see what we can do. But I want to at least give them an attaboy for doing the right thing when they do the right thing. All right, I think we're done with CCP stuff. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the war. How about that?
Let's do it.
Let's do some war talk. It's time for the nullsec power up.
I think we've got some facts and figures.
All right, first things first. This war started on July 5th of 2020. It is now March 20th, 2021. That is almost 9 months. I want to show you guys something, and I did this because I think it's funny. Take a look at this, all right? Let's see if this kid was conceived. The conception date is March, let's see, July 5th. July 5th, 2020. Let's click on, here you go, see a timeline.
Villian Piggles had a baby. How ugly is this thing gonna be?
Congratulations, your due date is March 28th, 2021.
Wow.
Next Sunday.
Wow.
Next Sunday. I'm telling you guys this right now. Next Sunday, a baby could be born who has never known a time when this war was not happening. It has been a full 9 months since this war started. Okay? 9 months. Now, what has Pappy accomplished in that time frame? Let's talk about it. Obviously, we have lost Fountain. Internet has lost Fountain. Quirius, which was covered by some random groups in the Quirius Fight Club and those types of groups, it's been mostly cleared out. Brave has taken, I think, 24 of the systems in Quirius, and Severance and some other groups have taken some of those. Period Basis is mostly test right now. That's what they've done. And then obviously Delve, they've taken everything but the 1DQ constellation behind them, and they're killing structures. They're killing all kinds of structures.
Oh no.
We've lost tons of structures.
I just want to, I got to interrupt here because I want to point out the Initiative and the Imperium forces in Fountain. Fountain was lost first, right? And they are on counterattack first. They're doing very good things. But I just want to say a nice little extra eat my ass to all of the piss-pee losers who are watching this and are about to get very, very angry. I hope, if I do my job appropriately, that you guys said that we in Delve, that Goonswarm would not be willing to sit in the trenches and take incoming artillery fire in the same way that we expected our allies to in Fountain and in all these other regions. You thought that we would break and run, and that we'd leave our allies to hang out to dry. And at first I thought that was just because puppies don't really know us very well, right? They see what they want to see on Reddit, and they have this imagined Goonswarm and an imagined Imperium where Initiative and Goonswarm are at odds, and at any moment the whole thing will fly apart. Well, we now know why that is. We know why you believed that we would treat our allies like shit and let their regions burn and not look after them and not make sure that everybody has SRP and not make sure that we're fighting together as a tribe, a society, and a people. Because that's what Legacy has been doing to their allies, is all of their regions get burnt to a fucking crisp and their friends' failure cascade. You guys expected that would happen to us when Initiative lost Fountain. You expected that would happen to us now that Delve is under fire, because that's what you do. That's how you treat your allies. You leave them to hang out. You leave them to cascade. We see Initiative. We see Bastion. We see all of the forces of the Imperium that are on offense against Legacy are getting their revenge. They are hoovering up cores. They are burning down Legacy's regions. But Legacy is colonizing Delve, so it's okay. These guys are getting their just vengeance because they know that we are willing to stay here in Delve and get kicked in the dick for as long as it takes for us to line up another M2 Titan fight to kill more Pispy Titans. And our allies haven't abandoned us. We haven't abandoned our allies. It's our turn in the trenches while Initiative burn Bastion and everybody else burns all of this shit down.
And that is 100%
we're not like you.
And this is the thing. I went back and I was looking because I'm going to probably try to put this together because I want to get a listing of all the random stuff that the Bads have said over the last 9 months, back when the baby was conceived. All of the things that they've said that didn't turn out to be true. And I went back and I was rewatching Trash Talk Tuesday from July the 2nd. And Villy and Piggles were both on the show. And one of the things that they said that I have to laugh about is they said, what's going to happen the first time the Imperium sees a super fleet bigger than theirs in Delve everybody's going to run away. And they start talking about how if you want to do it, if you're smart now, you'll sell your Titans now before the market's flooded with Titans. You should go sell the stuff now and start planning where you're going to go. And I'm just laughing because when you look at the numbers, Goons and the rest of the Imperium, for the most part, we're doing okay. There are some groups that are moving around, some groups that have left and have gone off and done other things, but it's not because of the war, it's because that's the natural thing. For example, so we had, obviously, Elitist Ops went to snuffed out. We talked about this on the show last week. This week, TD-SYN, the Dark Space Initiative, which was the wormhole group that Izuki was in, that came and crashed on in its couch in Fountain when they were getting pushed out by Laserhawks and the rest of the and HK and the rest of the wormhole guys. They joined in it. They stuck with us the whole time. They finally decided, all right, it's time now. With the war and everything, we're going to go back to wormhole space. They left in it this week. Guys, we love you. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We hope the couch was good. I'm sorry we had to pick it up and move it to another system while you guys were sitting on it. But hey, shit happens. But I'm going to miss the TD-SYN guys, but they're going back to the wormholes. They're going to go back to do the thing that they're going to do. We have not seen anybody, at least as far as I can tell, that has basically said, oh my God, we're losing. I don't want to be here anymore. Let's get the hell out of here. But I'll tell you, that's not the case on the other side. And let me show you some numbers, because here we go.
Numbers.
Numbers.
If you're in Pappy, run. Numbers.
I'm not even going to go into the crazy stuff. But if you just look, we talked about some of the groups that were fail skating a couple shows ago. And here's a simple example.
Spoiler
I mean, just look.
It's worse.
If you want to, this is Rosada Regnum. Let me fix the screen here so you guys can see it better. This is Rosada Regnum. Look at that slope. I mean, it's just boom in the toilet. You got the corpse leaving in the toilet. This is over the last month and a half. They're Sov. They had 23, 24 systems. They've got like one now. That's it. Down the toilet. Okay. So this is what happens when your stuff gets pushed in. Warped Intentions is exactly the same way. We'll go over here. We'll show these guys. Look at these guys. Same with them. Members dropping, corpse dropping, Sov dropping. Okay. It's just, this is what has been happening to these guys throughout the war, while Tess and everybody is saying the war is in Delft. Here we go. You can look at Eternal Requiem. Same thing. Look at these guys. Their slope. It's not as pronounced, but I'll tell you this, where it is pronounced is their Sov. They had most of Impasse. They are headed to nothing. Wow.
And Impasse currently, like the forest fire that was sweeping through Nancy, is now in Impasse. That's another thing that.
Right. So if you want to look at it, here's Impasse. Right now, Red Alliance covers almost all of it. Rec has like 4 systems left. Brave has 5. Rec has some more systems. They have one other constellation besides these 4 systems, so they've got maybe 10 systems left.
I can't wait to hear Villy or Piggles claim that these were all floodplains, because when we had floodplains and we designated them as floodplains and we kept with our allies and they did not cascade, floodplains or whatever. But yeah, and do we have the Faithabolous stuff? Just walk us through it. I'm so excited by this.
I want to show you the other stuff, because all right,
let's do it. Walk us through it.
So Cypher Lionheart on the Imperium forums, and you guys don't have access to this, so some of you are going to be seeing this for the first time, has been keeping track just over the last week of the stuff we've killed throughout Impasse and these other regions, and it's just like, I mean, it's just crazy.
Now, a thing I have to remind the Imperium watchers here, if you're an Imperium member, you need to understand that, particularly in Legacy, our enemies are poor and starving. Like, when they start losing Satios, they don't have like 60 plus Satios in one region. Like, they actually matter a lot more for them, because it's cheaper to be rich than to be poor. Life is more expensive when you don't have stuff and you can't just issue war bonds and recover from it. So it's made my job a lot easier now that Cypher Lionheart has been compiling this, and we love doing these things, because it's obviously an awkward situation to be like, yeah, we're losing Keep Stars in Delft, we're lining up an opportunity to go after another Titan fight, don't worry guys, Legacy shit is burning down. But if you just look at this, my God, it's just blood in the water day after day, and it just keeps on going. And
it's just structure after structure, and most of these were not even fought over. To be honest, I mean, listen, I'll tell you this right now. I was on a faction fort in a Zernitra. in a 20 billion ISK dread that nobody uses because all it is a flying kill mail. Darkshines has done the same thing. We have kill structures with all over impasse with impunity. Not even anything. Shines, yes, you use it. You let me borrow yours because mine's still a 1DQ. But the point is, we're going out there and doing crazy shit because we can. They're not fighting back. We have heard from the bads over and over again, why don't you guys defend your structures? Why don't you guys defend any of this? What, you'd have a jump bridge network if you guys would fight to save it. Well, guess what? Right back at you. Karma's a bitch. Because I'll tell you this right now. Legacy is fail skating as a group. If you are not in test and maybe brave, you have been forgotten and thrown on the wood chipper. You are on the pile to go into the dumpster. They don't care about you. They're not defending your stuff. And you don't have the ISK to be replacing this stuff. When Eternal Requiem loses half a dozen faction Fortizars in space that they controlled that they either had to pay for or were grandfathered, you're never getting that ISK back. I'm sorry to tell you, it's never coming back. So when these guys give us a hard time and say, well, why aren't you defending all your Keepstars in Delve? Why aren't you defending all your stuff in Impact? Well, we don't live there anymore. Okay, where do you live then? Because I don't see any Sov changing hands here. I see Brave taking Sov and Quirius. I don't see Warped Intentions taking any Sov. I don't see Rosada Regnum taking any Sov.
Well,
the Watchmen are dead. I don't see Requiem taking any Sov.
Because they know they're not going to get defended. Jesus.
There's nothing. I mean, that's the thing. These guys are out here. It's like, are you kidding? And then
they are, yeah. I have to point out here, one of the things that occurs to me is what you're seeing from Legacy is exactly the same kind of consolidation of vassals and pets, because let's no longer treat Legacy like they are like PanFam or like the Imperium, because say what you will about PanFam, the members of PanFam are not pets and vassals. Each of the groups in PanFam has their own swagger and their own thing. Originally, you could say that Horde in the early days was a meat shield, but they have enough strategic strength on their own to stand on their own, blah, blah, blah. Legacy is basically doing the same shit that Band of Brothers did in the Great War, which was as they were losing their space in the Southeast, they started consolidating their remaining pets and vassals into ever denser areas. So what you're seeing is that these guys that are abandoning Amist, abandoning Tenerifis, getting kicked out of Faith Atlas, getting kicked out of Immincy, getting kicked out of Impasse, getting kicked out of Catch, they are being told, oh, this is all part of the plan. You are going to be colonizing Delve. And in the meantime, just cool your heels in Paragon Soul and in Esoteria. So they are just attempting to jam all of these pubby vassal. They're not even like renter. It's amazing. Like some people are just born to lick boots, and they look at the situation and they go, wow, these other coalitions are looking after their allies. Legacy is not. Let's stay in Legacy. Maybe some of them want to be in Test, but if you're not in Test in Legacy, you ain't shit and you don't matter. And if you still have to be told this by now, I'm not going to try to help you because whatever, you've already drunk the Kool-Aid. There's no reasoning with you. There's only pointing and laughing at you as an example for everybody else to be amused by. But they're doing the same shit that Bob did. They are losing their shit and they're just basically trying to cover for it by consolidating. Now, of course, there is a possibility that the Imperium breaks and runs and that Goonswarm gives up and gets out of Delve and da-da-da-da. But I've said the entire war, we're not leaving. And now the puppies are trying to scare us more by saying F2OY blew up, and so there's no golden bridge of retreat. Hey, guys, by the way, if you're in Delve and you want to get your shit out, you can't. You have to fight or die. As we said from the very beginning, it's win or die. In a realm of asset safety, I'm shoving all of our stuff in. I am perfectly happy to fight this out to the very bitterest of bitter ends in NPC Delve. And you know why? Not just because fuck you, that's why, or eat my ass, which are both perfectly valid reasons. So fuck you, that's why, eat my ass. But reason number 3, I want to bring it back to the baby that Brisk prophesized will be born on March 28th. When Progod and Vili and all of these other idiots got together and they pitched this vast invasion of Goonswarm and the Imperium and burn us out of Eve and stuff, all of that was predicated on one very important assumption. And that assumption was that they have more Titans and Supers than the Imperium. And as it happens, we have more Titans and Supers than them, especially now that we've blown up 300 plus of theirs. So this is the reason why this war is in this interesting state, is that their entire thing was a put up or shut up. We're going to get there and we're going to burn everything down and goons will give up and whatever, because the rest of the entire galaxy has more Supers and Titans than we do. Well, it turned out that you guys couldn't even put up 1,000 Titans. You want to come at us, and you couldn't even muster 1,000 Titans in the early days. That's why you wonder why this war is taking so long, why it's about to be a baby. It's because these little bitches came at us expecting us to have less strategic forces than them, and that's why they spend so much time dithering around on move ops or whatever, because our space dicks are just bigger.
And here is the thing.
Sorry,
okay?
not sorry.
And I'll tell you this flat out right now. The goalposts moving on the other side, they love to claim that we move the goalposts. Oh, well, we talked about, Fortress Fountain. Mitten said Fortress Fountain one time on a fireside that was never public. One time.
I slipped up and I said, I'll do this. Fortress Catch, Fortress Quarius, Fortress, I'll just go through all the region names. If it makes you super angry, that's good, because if you're angry, if you're holding on to that, Mitten said Fortress Fountain, surely the initiative in Goonswarm will break up, because surely Goonswarm treats their allies like Legacy treats theirs. Oh, wait. We're not spineless, shitty people. Sorry.
So you guys love to say, like, when we say something, we throw it back in your faces. And I just want to point out, for those people who say, well, all those groups that were in Impasse and Faith Abilis and Esoteria and Ketch and by the way, I mean, Brave has one system left in Ketch. One. That's it. They used to own the whole thing, or at least a goodly portion of it. All right. Now, yes, they control a good chunk of Aquarius, not the best part of Aquarius, but a good chunk of it. But here's the bottom line. They were saying as recently as 3 months ago that they were going to keep all their space, plus they were going to move in to Fountain and the rest.
Right.
And I've got the receipts. We're going to show you guys right now. This takes about 3 minutes, and then we're going to go to Fountain Frank, because I have a 5 o'clock stop, because I'm going to get my vaccine today.
Hell yeah.
So I want to show you guys this stuff. It's just unbelievable. The stuff that they were saying 3 months ago that now all of a sudden has completely changed, because things aren't going the way they thought.
But we do have some things we can announce today that are pretty exciting, I think. Legacy will be taking Fountain, Delve, Quarius, and period bases while maintaining all of the space that we currently hold. So we will be getting four full additional regions. Every single Legacy Alliance will be getting space in Delve, Quarius, period bases, and Fountain. We will be divvying it up as a coalition. And our intention there is to build a proper fortress. And if Goons have showed us one thing, it's that it is incredibly difficult to invade Delve, Quarius, and period bases as long as you don't fuck it up and do an absolutely stupid defense plan. For those of you who aren't aware, Quarius is the key to holding Delve and period bases, not Delve, obviously. So as long as you actually attempt to defend Quarius, it's an incredible fortress. It really is. If there's one thing we learned, it's that you
Quarius
cannot
is an incredible fortress,
reasonably invade Quarius or period bases through the 49U or TCAG gate. So, and you can't really do it through the ZXB-Y2 Anno gate either. So there's really only one approach point on those regions. Clearly, with the way CCP is going with the economy and bounty redistribution and all these mechanics, which we've been bitching about, 3 regions is not enough for the entirety of Legacy. Well,
3 regions is not enough for the entirety of Legacy.
We're not giving up our space. We don't want to give up any space. We took it, we own it. But also, we need the space to make sure that everyone has enough ratting and mining and all that.
So bad.
We've become pretty adept at dual staging, with jump clone stagings and everything. And we have some plans on how to manage both sides. We'll call it the west side and the east side of that 49U 407 TCAG G Magic divide. We're not going to announce those today specifically because they're still in the works a little bit, and obviously there's still some game mechanics changes between now and the end of the war that CCP will throw on us without warning. But we are pretty confident that we can hold both with dual stagings. It's something we've become pretty good at. And we do intend to create a fortress in Delve Queries and period bases that everybody is has a home in, that we can move most of our most critical and most vulnerable infrastructure into. We're going to want to do most of our super building in Delve Queries and period bases, for example. Preferably all of it, actually, but we can get to that point. We've got what we think is a pretty good plan.
I can't sit there anymore. No.
Guys, look, for those of you who are like, what's the date on that? December 20th, 2020. Yes, pre-M2. That's the point. As much as 3 months ago, before the M2 fight, you guys were going to say, come down here, take all our space, and keep all of your space. After M2, you took a break, but now you're doing all the stuff that you said you were going to do that week. The week that M2 happened, which is killing a keep star, killing 3 or 4 keep stars a week. Okay? The bottom line is, it was hubris to think that you could come in here, take all of our space, and keep all of your own. And we're showing you what happens now when you put all your eggs in one basket. Legacy is going to get crammed into 2 or 3 systems, 2 or 3 regions at most. Those regions are going to be right next to wherever we are, and we're going to push your stool in whenever we feel like it, because you're not going to be able to stop us. In it is glassing Impasse. In another week, there will not be any more structures left in Impasse to kill. The entire region will be done. And the same thing's going to happen to Faith Abilis, and the same thing's going to happen to Ketch, and then it's going to happen to Esoteria. And you guys can kill as many keep stars as you want to Delve, it's fine. But hey, you know what? Your backfields are burning, and that's all it's that you got to go back and crab again. So hey, you're blowing up our stuff, we're blowing up yours. With that, on that note, can we do the war update real quick and then get out of here?
We totally can. I know you got a hard limit on when you go, so I got let's get a proper war update from somebody that'll make Securitas and the Top Cat Cloud guy happy because they're upset about being publicly humiliated. Let's hear from somebody else.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, mission accomplished. We did it. You all asked, Frank, where were you last week? You had your secret mission. You and George were on your secret mission. Where were you? Where were we? I'll tell you where we were. We went to fucking Iceland. We went to fucking Iceland because you know what? Frisk and them can give CCP all the credit for the red dot getting fixed. I'll tell you right now who the fuck did it. This guy. We found our way. We broke into CCP. We got on CCP Shreddy's computer and we fucking fixed it. We coded that shit ourselves. It was a secret mission. And we got out, and I'll tell you this right now. It was amazing. It was all me. Well, it was all George. And for the record, and I just want to say this, I don't want anybody blaming us or George for that fucking volcano, because I will tell you this right now, as part of his parole agreement, he had to give the CIA back the weather machine that he used to knock the tree over with Asher's house. There's no way we could have started, I don't think, the fucking volcano in Iceland, probably. Okay? It was not us. We fixed the red dot, and then we came home. Mission accomplished. Back to you guys.
I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, if the monkey is not involved in the earthquakes and the volcano, we're all going to be disappointed. The main thing is, if you're going to have a volcano go off, having it happen during a pandemic and not like cut down international travel when people aren't traveling as much anyway. I don't know, whatever. I'm not sure how I feel about monkeys and volcanoes. I never thought I'd say a sentence about that out loud, especially not on live TV, but here we are. So yeah, while we get Brisk back, I want to thank everybody for watching. Next week we'll go a little longer. We do have a hard stop to the end of the show today at 2 minutes from now, which is unfortunate because I love running my mouth, and we've got a bunch of live ones here in chat. Really great show. We love doing these fact-based episodes because, as you can see, when we post charts and facts and we compare what's actually happening in this war, you can watch the little piss pee, particularly the legacy side pubbies, just flip their shit. And it's great. At any moment now, I'm sure that Goonstorm and the Imperium is going to give up and run for the exits, and you will be able to have all the regions you want, and a pony, and some trees, and some special gold stars.
All the Turkish delight you can eat.
You can join Trump University or whatever, Mary Kay, multi-level marketing, find your dreams. Oh my God, Legacy is full of MLM moves. That must be what it is.
They're all going to be driving around in pink cars.
This shit. Jesus Christ.
There you go.
All right. Well, great show today. Thank you all for coming and watching and being angry puppies. If you are angry puppies, I'm sorry. Next week, we'll just have more facts for you. Hopefully between now and then, we'll have caught you fucking up and gotten a chance to take another swing at your Titan fleet, just like at M2. But you never know. Hope springs eternal. That's all I got, Brisk. Why don't you play us out?
Thanks, everybody. This was the Meta Show for March 20th, 2021. I'm Brisk Ball, joined by the Mittani. You stay classy. New